Wednesday, loves. I hope that this message finds you well and that you are navigating the eclipse portal with ease and grace and curiosity and adaptability. I'm just going to take a moment to center and align with the highest truth, Holy Father, Holy Mother, divine guidance, the archangels, ascended masters, calling forth the highest truth and transmissions of healing and direction during this eclipse cycle around this full moon in Taurus. We ask that this message be delivered to each individual in a way that they may receive what they need so they can make the most of this energy and be transformed along their highest path. And so it is. Thank you. So I got to hear from some of you on the last reading, and I really enjoyed that and appreciate it always. So I'd love to hear from you now, how things are flowing and moving, or maybe how they're not, what's present for you. And we'll begin to dive into these energies around this Taurus full moon, which peaks on Saturday. This lunar eclipse is not full here. I believe it's going to be full over Europe, and of course wherever eclipses are, the path that they're crossing, as well as like where they are most visible, is where the energy is most intense. And the path is really interesting over the US. The solar eclipse 2 weeks ago during the new moon came across from like the Pacific Northwest down to the East Coast into the Atlantic, and now it's going in the opposite way, and it draws an X across the United States. So while this will not be as intense as a full eclipse is for us here in the United States, it's still like an amplified full moon. So you should already begin to feel some of that if you haven't already. And so the question that this poses, and any eclipse poses, is what is being revealed that has been hidden? So it's an excellent time for shadow work, even though maybe during the eclipse portal, you may not be as conscious of what the material is that's getting presented, but if you can look at maybe the themes or the places where you are suffering the most, there is where some of that information can lie, and more direction towards what it is that you are starting to bring into the conscious awareness, and what is ready and prepared to be transformed by the light of conscious awareness. So without further ado, tuning into this Taurus full moon and this eclipse in Scorpio, we have now shifted, the sun has shifted into the zodiac of Scorpio. And this point in the eclipse cycle is actually a closing from 2021. The 2021 eclipses towards the end of that year. So you can also check in with what were some things that you were learning during that period of time, and what has come to maybe a completion at this time that's relative to some of the themes that you experienced in 2021 in that eclipse cycle. And our collective read is going to consist of our first pull, which is Viracocha, honoring the light. This is from the Earth Warriors deck. And Viracocha was a well-known warrior of, is it the Inca? I believe the Inca. And revered by the Peruvians. And Viracocha also refers to the eighth chakra in shamanism, and at least Peruvian shamanism, which is essentially our light. It is our soul star is another term for it, but it is a radiant cosmic light, our radiant light. And we'll see more of what this means. You can see even above the head there, this depiction of some force, some energy center. You are a light bearer. Your sole purpose is to redress the presence of darkness on this planet through shining the light. You are meant to do this in the ways that feel most uplifting to you. What brings brightness to your spirit? Do these things. How can you create a loving legacy to remind others of the light? Exploring and expressing the light in ways that remind others to seek light is also a way to fulfill your divine destiny. Your light is powerful. Use it. This card is encouraging the places where you have felt the compulsion, the drive, the desire, the passion to help ignite truth in other beings, ignite light in other beings, ignite love in other beings and within yourself, to not doubt it. Anywhere where self-doubt has crept in lately, it's time to really monitor and be with that, to look at it and to allow that to even be transformed by the light of the one true living source of all. And I'm gonna scan through and share a couple of the things here. It says people around you, perhaps even you, can sometimes get caught up in the troubles of the world and forget to focus on the light and your creative power. This suggests to place sacred objects in your line of vision so you see them and remember the light often. Particularly right now with war in Israel, among many other places, it's easy to get caught in that, and what we may become unaware of is our participation in it by giving our energy to it. Pity and sympathy are actually something that is not helpful. Empathy, however, encouragement, and seeing the highest light is what creates and aligns us with those timelines. So it feels, it's still obscured where this is going in the big picture, but I want to highlight any places in yourself where you've been starting to maybe tiptoe out into a new direction in your life, exploring a new career path or new ways of being in relationship, and particularly the pieces within yourself, the habits, the behavioral patterns, the thought patterns that you've noticed during the last couple of weeks or several weeks. Those should be getting highlighted right now, and can you not doubt your ability to be able to transform, overcome, and transcend some of the limits that those have presented. Don't doubt that at your core that you are perfected and that you're remembering. You're remembering how to remember. For someone like you with a strong mind, the ability to broadcast thoughts and feelings more clearly than many around you and therefore process potential influences of others. It is essential that you bring your mind and way of being back to the light many times a day. Okay, starting to get a little bit more clear. Spirit of the divine, the owl, the witness. So this is our following card here from the Mayan Oracle deck. And an interesting visualization here with the serpent, the staff, the throne. So this is the Spirit of the Earth card. It's the embodiment of the land, and she was considered to be the most powerful representation of earthly energies. Her name literally means Earth Lord. This archetype embodies the duality of creation and death. She has her mouth open to give and receive in reciprocal relationship with those who dwell on earth. The tree of life growing from her jaws of death completes this picture of the earth as womb and tomb. Her mouth and the act of eating are analogous to birth and death. When this archetype comes to you, you know that you are now strong enough for a rite of passage. You're ready to go deep into the darkness and return to the light. I'm now remembering that in the opening of this eclipse, we had essentially what was on the other side of this archetype, the opposite of it. Many of you have been experiencing the rites of passage, initiation, and were asked maybe at the beginning of this cycle to surrender something that was precious to you, surrender your false sense of safety, if you will, in some form, and to engage in the unknown and engage with your resistance and engage with your calling at its deepest level. And the owl, which sees through the night, it carries incredible wisdom and clarity. This also was in the last reading, in the same place, and represents our ability to trust our intuition, our ability to trust what we see, and also to help guard us against self-deception. So really knowing and deciphering the difference between truth and false, light and dark, alive and dead. The invitation is to look around you and notice every detail and find the hidden messages brought to you by the owl. Do not shoot the messenger. Be grateful to the friend who shows you what you have not wanted to see until now. I feel like I need to say this again. Don't shoot the messenger. If you have people bringing things to your attention right now that may trigger a hot temper, which the energy is ripe for that, take a moment, breathe, and ask if there is even a possibility that there is something about yourself that you do not know. And if you are a staunch, that's not me, it's almost a guarantee that it is. So be willing to learn what you do not know that you do not know. And be grateful. Be grateful, practice gratitude for the people that rub you the wrong way, that irritate you, that get on your nerves, that make you angry. Observe all the facets of the diamond without judgment, and remember that the facets you dislike are often mirrors of the part of you that you do not want to recognize. This is the medicine of the eclipse. The eclipse brings forth the shadows, the hiding parts, the things that we have not seen, but it's because we have not been prepared and ready. Now you are ready, which is why these things are happening. This is why there may be chaos and pain and challenges, a lot of difficulties. I particularly have experienced and have watched that there is a fair amount of the population that is working through physical challenge right now. And at its core, this is where the deepest samskaras and karma is starting to dissolve, alchemize, shift, and change. Don't be afraid of the truth, as it will be your compass. So meet all of these things with a willingness to adapt and a willingness to accept that you do not know what you do not know. Humility is priceless. Humility is a very powerful part of stepping into mastery. And initiations will humble you. If you feel that you are in an initiation and you have not been humbled, check around to see if maybe there is some other fruit left on the vine. Do not let it rot. What is the message that you are not hearing in the situation that you are not seeing with clarity? Owl invites you to wait patiently, to bide your time until it is right to act. Then do so decisively, without hesitation or remorse. There's compulsion with the chaotic energy that comes with eclipses. And Taurus is very grounding, so it's an invitation to notice and to sit and to wait, just like the message with the owl. If there's something that is giving a rise to you right now, it might be good to really spend some time with it, notate it, and then come back to it and revisit it. And this is confirmed by the following card with the Witness, as the Witness observes without engaging in any action. By cultivating inner stillness, we are able to assess any situation from a higher perspective and make better decisions. When we can be present for someone else's difficulties with stillness, then we are able to truly hear them and give better advice. Sometimes we can be so still that we are a mirror for the other. Then through our presence, they receive their own answers. The Witness that has been by your side all along is now ready to become your ally. You thought you were the doer, but today you discover that things happen when you get out of the way. Witness creation unfolding before you. Change reality by finding stillness and letting your true intent reveal itself. Acknowledge your preconceptions, ideas, and feelings about the situations you are in, but resist the urge to change any of it. Do not fall back to your controlling patterns. So that there's a emphasis on that right now, is to look at the patterns around control, around the need to manage, and instead take a few breaths. Connect with the joy of not having to perform. Hold space for the world to keep spinning on its own. And you'll find that after this period of time, when things start to settle, that you'll have a lot more clarity around the ability to see what matters and to see what your role is. A lot clearing through the mental space, and All right, Spirit, what are some of the persistent themes, some ways that you can help us see better? Yes, adversity. Adversity. Envy. Interesting. Adversity, envy, and peace are themes here. And I can recognize this in some situations that I have recently encountered that have stirred some participation by my ego. The adversity card says, I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. So are you working with the challenges that are coming in right now? Or are you resisting it? Are you turning away from it? Are you ignoring it? People have different coping mechanisms with dealing with stress and problems. And if you're someone who tends to ignore it and put it off, or ostrich and kind of stick your head down in the sand, this is your alert to come up, take a breath of air, acknowledge what's going on, and take the time that you need to process it. But begin the process. Don't avoid initiating the process, because sometimes it's in that process that you discover that things aren't as much of a challenge as you thought. They actually are opportunities. And so as you begin that process, and you do so with the willingness to accept the gifts that can come with it and the change that you've likely asked for, but you just may not have wanted the process to get there, it will come with a bit more ease. So whatever has been presenting, and maybe it's been a flag that has kept showing up, now is the time. Now is the time to let go of the old habits of not allowing yourself the space, the time to process, to be involved, to be present. It's time to let that go. To accept the gifts as they come, and that they don't always come the way that we want. Envy is a card that I feel like maybe has come up more recently too. It says, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. And yeah, there's tendencies, especially earlier on in our journey of awakening, that we tend to try to grasp or put someone on a pedestal, or become envious of another one's life, path, journey, what they have. And this is a stumbling block. This actually directs us to show that we have not accepted ourselves and accepted it's actually a shadow of denying that part of yourself. What you're seeing and you're reaching for in another being is something that has been denied inside of you, likely. And it takes you away from being content with what you have. And so without appreciation for what you have now, it's not hard to, you will not be given the responsibility of more if you cannot be grateful for what you currently have. So there's two pieces that I feel relative here. That is like really owning where you're at, who you are, without a need to be embellishing or pretending or grasping towards a future, and just accepting the way that you are right now in this moment, including gifts that are maybe beginning to get activated, but not misrepresenting them. to really know that there's no one that is better. There are just people who are in different places in the journey, and the journey isn't linear. So there's really no one that's, let's say, further along. There are just people who have maybe a more expanded perception. But it doesn't mean that there's any hierarchical scale of they are higher than you or lower than you. And so everyone is the same, and acknowledging that maybe if this speaks to you in a way that there is someone that you're envious of or something that you're envious of, you have to acknowledge that there are problems and challenges in their life that you probably don't want in exchange for what they're getting. That we all have these initiations and procedures and lessons that we have to go through to gain certain knowledge, to gain certain experiences in life. And so what glitters isn't always gold. Be careful what you wish for. It feels like there's several different perspectives to take with the envy card. And on the other side of that is peace. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. Even as I say that, I can feel any wobble in my system coming back to stillness. And using that affirmation just over and over again. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. Because it's over here on the other side of the envy card, as you notice yourself maybe having some of these experiences and thoughts, maybe around envy or something else that brings you down into, some of the lower planes of consciousness, practice using that mantra. I am a being of love. I release all negative energy. Okay, what do we want to reference now? I'm going to reference another from the Helena Fairchild deck, the Earth Warriors deck. Tawodi, kin of the red-tailed hawk. I keep coming back to these other cards. I'm going to pull one of those too. Abundance. The overall picture is pointing us towards the abundance that occurs when we overcome some of these human conditions, especially the one of greed, jealousy, envy, adversity, allowing us to receive the gifts, the abundant gifts of the universe, of the world. And so on a more collective level, speaking to the light that we need to focus on. The result of war in the world is a result of war within the self, and as we resolve our inner conflicts and our inner attacks, the places where we have turned against ourselves, where we see ourselves as the enemy, or that we must kill off some part of ourselves. That is the quest to resolve what we are seeing in the world right now. And to focus our light, to focus on what is good and what is true and what is holy and innocent and beautiful. Yes, we have to do this shadow work. Yes, we have to look at the stuff that's ugly. Yes, we have to engage with the deep held feelings, the deep pressed feelings that are starting to surface. And we can't spend all our time there. we have to balance this out with also doing things that are light, looking at things that are beautiful, things that inspire us and make us feel lighthearted and playful, and smile and laugh. And if you're doing a whole bunch of shadow work right now, you need to be taking some breaks to go outside, for one, and to listen to comedy, or watch a movie that makes you feel happy. Spend time with people who don't take life so seriously. And then when you feel refreshed and rejuvenated, then you can begin to turn back. And I know it's not as simple as turning it off and on, but it can be as simple as taking breaks for things like that, of instituting moments of smiling during your day. It actually changes your chemistry if you smile. Even if you fake it, it will change the chemistry in your brain to where you then begin to feel happy. And so there is this last card here of Tuoti, Kin of the Red-Tailed Hawk, and it says, on the sacred wings of red-tailed hawk, a divine message comes. Your spiritual maturity has evolved into genuine power and discernment. You have earned your stripes. Acknowledgement is granted. Trust yourself and your destiny. You are ready for your next steps. Trust in your sense of timing, which is excellent and inspired. Allow Spirit to support you as you hover until the moment comes for you to fearlessly plunge into your forthcoming adventure. So this is a pause. This is neither an in-breath nor an out-breath. This is the space in between the two. This is the place of the witness. It may not be the best time to take action on decisions that you have, unless the opportunity presents. This is time to wait. To wait until the opportunity, the time is right, and you'll feel it. And that will be the invitation to the next step in your journey. You've been preparing for this all along. And so you must let go of the doubt that you're not ready, but you must be prepared to take the step when it comes, because it will come. Don't think about it too much. Just trust that whatever you do, as long as you are taking action that is different than the actions that you have taken from the past, you are now started on the journey. There is no perfecting it, and there's no destination. You will not have reached some place. It will just be a point along the path. This feels complete. May this reading offer you great abundance, precision in your inner sight, your inner knowing, and the deepest truths of your perfection, your wholeness, and the remembrance of your purpose, your abilities, your purity, and your lights. May we all shine our light in the darkness. May we all be willing to accept that we are children, all learning. That the more we know, the less we know, and the more we're curious and have a great teachability index, that we can then receive the insights and the magic that the universe wishes to expose and share. Many blessings to you all. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, I forget to do this at the beginning of these messages, so I really appreciate that, and it helps the algorithm so other people can receive these oracle readings. Until we meet again, keep it pure and stay simple. Pura vida.